Today we are at Living Epistle Church located at 3816 Virginia Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana. And I want you to look at this church. It has been here for several years. And I want you to look at the devastation that this congregation has endured. Now, did a tornado hit this church? Looks like it, doesn't it? Did a bomb hit this church? That could easily explain it off. No, none of those things happened. What happened to this church is something far more sinister and far more disappointing. This city that we live in, Shreveport, Louisiana, is responsible for this devastation because their sewer line pumped raw sewage into this church on 5 separate occasions, and it undermined the structure of this church. This church should be standing for 30 or even 50 years from now, but is being torn down. And the occupants of this church are going to have to move because no insurance company, as you can see, is going to insure a building like this. It has been on stilts, but Pastor had to have the stilts taken away, and the building has to be torn down, not only because of the undermining of the sewage, but because of all the infected, contaminating bacteria that was left in the wood, that was absorbed by the wood and breathed in by the congregation. But let's turn over to some of the congregants who came forward to tell you what they feel about the devastation of their church. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and you just tell us what your name is and how long you've been at Living Epistle Church.
I'm Sister Lucine Harrison. I've been here from the get, I think about 10 years. And my husband and I journeyed here. We came when everybody moved over here. We all practically came the same time, And we've been grateful to be here. We've all enjoyed the church and the fellowship and our members. We're just like one big happy family. So of course this was devastating to us, to have our church just falling down and decaying before our eyes. And the biggest part is not being reimbursed for our troubles and our problems and our heartache, because the city knows who's at fault. It wasn't Living Epistle, it's the city of Shreveport, and we wasn't compensated for it, So we're just devastated, and we're hoping and praying that things will work out for us, and we'd like for y'all to keep us in your prayers and everything. So
amen. Now we have another young lady. Now you're younger than the rest of them. How long have you been at this church?
My name is Sister Ann Allison, and I've been a member here for 7 years.
Okay. And you, when you came here, what kind of mood does this church have? I mean, everybody seems to be to love each other and to love the pastor and all.
The atmosphere is great. It's like a family-oriented congregation where there is genuine love of each other and of God.
How do you feel about the way the city of Shreveport has treated your church?
I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And more than anything, I'm disappointed in the city and the mayor as a leader.
Yeah.
We have continued to fight against the city, but they have turned us down without any thoughts or any caring whatsoever. And I think it's wrong. I believe that it's wrong. And in the end of the day, the good Lord members are going to prevail. The Living Epistle members will prevail.
Because that's all you have right now.
It's the Lord.
You don't have a building.
That's right.
You have hope. Hope for the homeless. Now we have another lady who has also wanted to weigh in her reactions to this devastation of the church. Give us your name and how long you have been a part of Living Epistle congregation.
My name is Mary Preston. I've been here approximately 10 years. And I'm very, very disappointed in the city because I never thought that Shreveport as a whole would do a church like this.
Yeah.
And it's really depressing because I thought the city, would have more Christian-hearted people. In the city, and especially in a leader position. And I just cannot. I just really don't understand why this happened like this. It shouldn't have happened like this.
And do you know that your church, your congregation is going to have to move from this building because it's not only not safe, it's uninsurable.
It doesn't seem like it's making a difference to other parishioners who have their church and everybody's satisfied. You know, it's not bothering. It doesn't seem to bother people that we're on the verge of losing our worshiping place. You know, it would seem like the clergy, since we're all Christians, it would seem like the clergy, other members of other churches and everything could come together. You know, even though the city let us down, that don't mean that we have to stay down. There are people out there that could really be of help to us, and that's what we're asking for, prayers and anything else, you know, because we're going to be without a church, and we feel this in our heart, you know, because it's uninsurable, so we don't have anywhere to worship. And everybody needs a place to worship, you know.
You know, and one thing I found out, because I've interviewed some other members of the congregation who couldn't be here right now, that this church was kind of a beacon of hope in this community.
Yes,
this is not your upscale part
no.
of Shreveport. This is, I mean, when you come here as a church, you come here with the understanding that you're going to have to make some sacrifices, because you're driving your cars in here, and the people in the neighborhood, right? You're taking risks, but that's what the gospel of Christ is all about. It's coming to the people who really need you.
But you know, even though there were risks involved, and sometimes you could hear gunfire, whatever,
right.
we would still have